Hi everyone, it's Emma here, and this week I am talking through foods to help you through your period. So as a nutritionist, it's a common question I get asked, what foods can we eat, what diet can we follow in order to help us through this time of the month. So I'm just going to talk through some helpful foods, but actually I'm going to talk through these in terms of the nutrients they contain. Because I think it's really important to understand the nutrients that we need and how they can help us during this time. But then of course I'm going to list examples of foods, key foods that contain these key nutrients. So the first nutrient I want to focus on is iron. So this is really important for lots of people depending on what diet you're following. So vegans and vegetarians may have to be a little bit more aware of iron, because the heme or form of iron that we find in animal-based foods is better absorbed. But also then we have women, when we lose blood every month, then that also puts us more at risk of becoming deficient in iron. So it's just really one to consider, because if we risk falling short of iron and becoming anemic, then we can be left feeling quite tired, quite lethargic, and that those are quite common symptoms. I would say to get your levels checked just to help give us a better idea, and not just your iron or hemoglobin levels, but also your ferritin levels, and that's your storage form of iron, which helps to really give us a good idea of your overall iron status. So in terms of different foods that contain iron, we have those meat and kind of fish sources that I mentioned there. So all your red meats especially, and lots of your fish and shellfish also contain good sources of iron. But there are vegetarian and vegan options, so lots of your pulses, your lentils, your green leafy vegetables, your beans, all your beans are very good sources of iron. Also quinoa, which is another lovely superfood, and tofu as well, which is a nice vegan and vegetarian source. Also your dried fruits, so your apricots, figs, raisins, options like that are also high in iron, which you can get into nice breakfast or snack options as well. So there are lots of diverse food sources of iron, and if you feel you need a little top up, there are some lovely natural supplement options as well, such as Floradix or Spatone, and these ones are well absorbed and they don't have so many of the side effects that conventional iron supplements can come with those, such as constipation. So sometimes it's nice just to go for a more professional supplement brand if you feel you need a little extra. Next nutrient I want to talk about is magnesium. So along with vitamin D, magnesium is one of my favourite all-round nutrients that most of us can usually benefit from. So magnesium is good for supporting us both physically and mentally. So it's very good for relaxing your muscles, supporting your muscles and joints, but it's also very good for relaxation of the mind and supporting your resilience to stress. It's also important for lots of hormones such as insulin resistance as well, so blood sugar regulation and cravings and things. Magnesium is really important for that side of things. So as I said, that kind of covers quite a lot of symptoms that women would suffer from typically at that time of the month. So in terms of food sources of magnesium, lots of lovely, again, plant-based fresh foods contain magnesium. So a lot of your lovely vegetables, your green leafy veg, your spinach, your avocado, fish as well. Mackerel, for example, is very high in magnesium. Again, lots of your nice whole grains, your quinoa, your brown rice is a lovely source, oats. Also tofu, again, is high in magnesium, comes from your soybeans, or your other forms of beans, your black beans, kidney beans. Nuts and seeds, most of them are high in magnesium. Cashews, almonds, pumpkin seeds, sunflower seeds, all fantastic options. So lots of your lovely fresh whole foods. Figs again, bananas, there's just so many. So if you're eating fresh, you're hopefully going to be getting enough of magnesium, but again, it's one that you would bet most of us can benefit from topping up our numbers if you like to just try and have a little bit extra. Next nutrient on my list is omega-3. So omega-3 is particularly helpful for symptoms of PMS and particularly period cramps. There is lots of research around this, and we think this is due to its anti-inflammatory actions, which helps to counter those pro-inflammatory prostaglandins. So I talk a bit about that throughout my blog, so just a little reference to that again. The other thing again that can be linked to inflammation is headaches, monthly or menstrual headaches. So again, omega-3 can help with that symptom in some cases. So one of your most obvious sources of omega-3 is your oily fish. So that's options like your salmon, mackerel, tuna, herring, kippers, anchovies. And then if you're a vegetarian or vegan, we have options like your flaxseed and your flaxseed oil, which you can get in supplement form. The oil contains a higher source of omega-3, so that would be a nice option. But there's other food sources such as your walnuts, your chia seeds, your soy, again soybeans, and foods made from soy. So it is found in again a fairly wide range of foods, but again, if you're looking for to make sure you get a decent dose, a supplement may be the best way to go. So that would be your fish oil capsules or your flaxseed oil, which you can get in capsule or just in the oil form to drizzle over salads or cold foods. You wouldn't ever heat the flaxseed oil. Number 4, again, as I'd mentioned, one of my all-time favourites is vitamin D. Again, there's research to suggest that vitamin D can help to counter period pain in particular, and that's due to again an anti-inflammatory benefit that vitamin D offers. So vitamin D is a little bit more limited in terms of food sources. So the sun is our primary source of vitamin D, and especially living in the UK, most people would really need a daily supplement to get enough levels all year round. So you'd be looking for between 5 and 10 micrograms or between 200 and 400 IU. There are some food sources which would be good to include, but you may not be guaranteed to get enough all year round just by relying on food sources. But nevertheless, I would recommend you include these in your diet anyway. So again, that's your oily fish options. Your eggs contain omega-3, and also mushrooms, vitamin D. Mushrooms are also a lovely source of vitamin D. And a top tip with mushrooms, some of the supermarkets and farmers markets are starting to advertise vitamin D mushrooms, and this is because vitamin D can actually, mushrooms can make vitamin D from the sun the same way we can. So manufacturers might do this, or you can actually do this at home. Just leave your mushrooms out in direct sunlight, and they will actually help to maximise the vitamin D content. So that's just another little tip for you as well. Finally on my list, we have zinc. And zinc is one not to be forgotten about by everyone, including vegetarians and vegans, just to ensure that you're getting enough. Zinc is very important for producing the sex hormones themselves, and lots of enzymes and everything that we need to help support that hormone balance. We sometimes talk about hormone imbalance, so to support hormone balance we want enough zinc. So again, seafood and meat does contain quite a lot of zinc, so that's something to consider. If you are vegetarian or vegan, you might just benefit even more so from a supplement. But still, your nuts and seeds especially do contain a fairly good dose of zinc, so if you've got plenty of those in your diet, you might be okay. But on that note, just in terms of thinking how you could supplement your diet, of course I talk about diet, and that should be your primary source of nutrients, but there is options like your balanced mineral drink as well, just to help top up some of the levels of some of those key nutrients that I've mentioned today. So the balance will contain your magnesium, your zinc, and your vitamin D that we've mentioned today, and just a couple of extras in there, your potassium and your calcium. So this is a lovely option just to take a daily capsule. You can take it all month round or just in your premenstrual week if you prefer. So hopefully that helps, a nice summary of the different nutrients that can help support you during your periods, and then some of the key foods that those nutrients can be found in. As always, please comment below on any questions you might have, and please do subscribe to our Avogo YouTube channel, and also hit the bell icon so you'll be notified of any new videos I do.